Welcome to today's hearing. My name is Councillor Nagpal and I shall be chairing the hearing. My colleagues, Councillor Mahmood, Councillor Gallant and I comprise of today's subcommittee for this expedited review hearing for Al Shorfa, Centre House, St Leonard's Road, Park Royal, NW10 6ST. Hatun Zeb is the legal advisor to the subcommittee. Also present is Zaina Ahmed, who is the clerk to the subcommittee and will be minuting the meeting. In accordance with procedure, I shall invite the police to present the application for a review hearing and call any witnesses in respect of whom permission to appear has been given and answer any questions put to them. Invite the premises to make their representations, answer any questions. Invite the parties to briefly sum up their respective cases. At the end of the hearing, the subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the committee clerk, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the meeting and confirmed in writing as soon as possible. I will now invite the police to make their review representations.
Thank you, Chair. Well, you will have read the papers and you'll know the way that an expedited summary review takes place. You have the interim steps hearing. That took place on the 19th of June last. And then we have the full review, and that's what you're seized with. At the application for expedited summary review, the interim step hearing, the police were asking for revocation. And we were certainly asking for suspension of the licence pending the full review. And it was triggered by an incident that took place on the 9th of June 2025. An incident of violent disorder, which on any view was a serious incident.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rankin, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I should have asked for you to introduce yourself before you began. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Can I also just add, can everybody please introduce themselves before they speak? Thank you. My apologies, Mr. Rankin.
My name is James Rankin. I'm representing the police.
Thank you.
My name is Yusuf. Apologies. My name is Yusuf Alhani. I'm representing the premises license holder, who's also the DPS, Mr. Ahmed.
Thank you, Mr. Alhani. If you could please keep your camera on throughout the duration of the hearing, please.
Oh, sorry, my camera is. It is on,
okay.
Unless. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Noel Samaru from NTAD Consultants. I'm here to represent Mr. Ahmed in today's hearing, and I was also representing him at the interim steps.
My name is Rehan Ahmed and I am the owner and DPS of Al Shorfa.
Good morning, everyone. My name's PC Anu Mitu. I'm here representing the police, and also with me is PC Lance McKenzie. He's there to observe and help with any technical difficulties should we have any regarding the CCTV.
Thank you. Mr. Rankin, please continue.
Thank you. So the trigger incident then was the 9th of June 2025, and on any view it was a serious incident, and that much is accepted by Mr. Ahmed. Well, at least it was accepted in his defence statement, which was submitted on the day of the hearing for the interim steps hearing. Just by way of background, you will have seen that it has a late licence, and the premises are supposed to close during the week, Sundays to Thursday, at 1:30. I'm sorry, forgive me, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and on Fridays and Saturdays at 4 o'clock in the morning. And the sale of alcohol on Fridays and Saturdays ends at 1:30. The sale of light refreshment on Fridays and Saturdays ends at 3:30. And for everything else, it is 1:30. That's the time that I want you to fix in your minds, because it's relevant to something I'm going to say later on. So At the time that I presented this case before the licensing subcommittee on the interim steps hearing, I suggested that the premises, save for one incident, did not present as what we call a problem premises. The police have been able to revise that view because in the interim between the 19th of June and today, they've been able to go back in time and look at the history of these premises, which only opened 18 months ago. And we do not, as of today's date, hold the view that these premises are not problem premises. The trigger incident then, the 9th of June, is detailed in the statement of Vicky Hewson. Vicky is not here today, she's on annual leave, but Anu is standing in for her and can assist with the CCTV and a narration of the CCTV. But this is what the application for summary review stated in bold terms, that at 22:41 there was a call made to police by the victim, confusingly also called Mr. Ahmed. I'm simply calling him the main victim. And what was suggested in that call was that he and his brothers had been attacked with weapons. And you could hear in the background of this call somebody shouting, "I will kill you, I will stab you." The police arrived and three of the victims, or the three victims, were covered in blood. Two of them had lacerations to their heads, consistent with injuries by instrument. One of them had a deep laceration. All had bruising, some had cuts to the mouths. And the four suspects that the victims implicated were inside the premises with the shutters down. And the suspects attempted to lift the shutters and were told to stay inside by the police whilst they assessed the position. And then when that position had been assessed, they went inside and they arrested Mr. Ahmed, who appears in the meeting today, who's also the DPS, and all four suspects, or three suspects rather, were charged with ABH, threats to kill. Also, at that stage, possession of what was believed to be Class A drugs. Now, the drugs have not been analysed, so I do not rely on the drug allegation for the purposes of today's hearing. So take that out of the equation, please. And remember this also, that when the licensing subcommittee decided not to suspend the license, rather to impose conditions on the license relating to CCTV and ID scanners and the like, the CCTV was not played to the licensing subcommittee. We were only able to give you a narration of it. We can do both today. We will play you the CCTV and Anu Mitu will narrate what goes on. And the timeline is contained in Vicky Hewison's statement at page 98, and that is what Anu Mitu will be speaking to when she narrates the CCTV. Now, what is clear from the CCTV is that at 22:38, Mr. Ahmed and three other acquaintances, including his solicitor, his brother, and one person who was an employee stroke friend, were seated at a table. The friend stroke employee leaves the premises and retrieves from a vehicle outside, believed to be a black Lexus, a baseball bat, which he brings into the premises. And they all sit down and they look at the baseball bat. Some of them handle it. It's important because what was said by Mr. Ahmed to the licensing subcommittee at the interim steps hearing was that the victims themselves were the aggressors and they brought the bat to the premises. That's a lie. Mr. Ahmed changed his story during the course of the hearing on the 19th of June and said that there was no baseball bat at all. That also is a lie, and it's demonstrably provable as a lie. What we do know is that there was some form of incident which had taken place the day before. Somebody had been ejected from the premises for an assault on the 8th of June, when the premises should have been closed, but they weren't. And I'll come to that in just a moment. And what the victims say is that they were invited to the premises for what they call peace talks. And when they arrive at the premises, Mr. Ahmed stands up and is in the front of the group with his friend and brother behind, and his brother holding the bat. The friend and employee pushes the first person in the vanguard of the suspects, and then the fight kicks off.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rankin, I'm interrupting you again. I've just noticed my colleague, Councillor Gallant, is frozen. I just want to be sure that he's still in the meeting and able to hear. I've also noticed that Councillor Mahmood doesn't appear to be here. Ms. Ahmed?
Councillor Mahmood is there.
He's just,
Councillor Gallant's just on him.
right, we'll just wait for him to rejoin because it's important all councillors hear everything that's said today. I've just spoken with Councillor Gallant. There's an area problem for network issues, so he's rejoining and should be with us any moment. Apologies again for the inconvenience.
I do apologise. Are you able to hear me now?
We
Yes,
are.
Councillor Gallant.
What I'm
I can't
unclear
hear
about
anybody,
is
I'm afraid.
what I'm unclear about, Councillor Gallant, is at what stage you cease to be a member of this proceeding.
I can't hear anybody, I'm afraid. I'll have to try something else.
Okay.
Sorry about this.
We can hear you if that assists.
I do apologise. I do apologise.
Can you hear us, Councillor?
I can hear you now, yes. I do apologise for that dropout. It's not my fault. Excuse me.
Okay, not to worry. Can you kindly let Mr. Rankin know the last thing that you heard when he was speaking so he knows where to carry on from? Thank you.
Yes, I can indeed, yes. I heard you up to the point where you had described certainly that the way you viewed the story, that the story had been changed by the premises license holder, and you described his evidence as a lie, as that's the way you described it.
Excellent. Then I can move on, because I then went on to describe what the actual footage shows.
Thank you very much.
Rather than what Mr. Ahmed would like you to believe. The actual footage shows this. And first of all, the background is that there was an incident the night before when the premises should have been closed, and I'll deal with that in a little while. But the premises should have been closed. They weren't. There was an incident. Somebody was ejected from the premises and there was bad blood. And it was suggested that the person who was ejected come to the premises for what were termed peace talks. That is a term used by one of the victims. And it's important because we say that Mr. Ahmed and the three other gentlemen that he was with knew that the victim was coming to the premises. The timeline is this, and it will be spoken to by Anu Mitu, and it is detailed in the statement of Vicky Hewison at page 98. And the CCTV will start with a shot of Mr. Ahmed sitting at a table with his solicitor and with his brother and with somebody who is a friend, but also an employee. The friend stroke employee leaves the premises before any of the victims arrive and retrieves from a black Lexus outside a baseball bat, and he brings it back into the premises and hands it to the group. And you will see on the CCTV that they all examine it. To suggest that the origins of that baseball bat were that they came with the victims, it is demonstrably a lie. 2 minutes later, at 22:40, the victims arrive. And Mr. Ahmed and the three others get up from the table, and Mr. Ahmed is in front. His brother is behind with the baseball bat. And the suspects immediately attack the victims. The brother swings the bat multiple times, doesn't always make contact, but does make contact in circumstances which clearly explain the bruisings and the lacerations. All parties trade blows, and Mr. Ahmed is seen in the thick of it. And they push the suspects, they push the victims out of the premises. And it's at this stage that the friend stroke employee goes outside again and from the same car retrieves another weapon. It's thought to be another baseball bat, perhaps an extendable baton, perhaps a metal rod. It's important because it shows as a lie any suggestion that the victims themselves brought weapons to the fight. They did not. And it's also important from this point of view because the defense statement, which I see has not been included in the agenda papers for today's proceedings, seems to be establishing a defense of self-defense. Now, obviously, that's a matter for a criminal court to the criminal standard of proof. But for today's purposes, you simply have to find, and you're perfectly entitled to look into the circumstances surrounding this incident. You just had to find on a balance of probabilities that it was more likely than not that the case happened in the way that I say that it did. Now, Mr. Ahmed files a counter allegation of assault. That was filed on the 17th of June 2025. That is 8 days after the incident. And that's what we call a self-serving action. The fact that he filed a complaint would have had more relevance if Mr. Ahmed had filed it immediately. But it's, we would suggest, an attempt to shore up what is a hopeless case on self-defense. Now, the decision on the interim steps taken on the 19th of June referenced the fact that the two parties were far apart. And you've also referenced in your decisions and your reasons that you were in some way hampered because you had not seen the CCTV. I can cure that now, and I will do it in just a moment. Dealing with my initial submission on the 19th of June, that these were not problem premises, you will have in mind, please, page 87 of Vicky Houston's statement, where she details a number of incidents in relation to these premises. Some are more serious than others. They were not fully known to the police at the time that the interim steps hearing took place. Many, in Mr. Ahmed's favour, were called in by Mr. Ahmed, and we acknowledge that. No licensee should ever be punished for bringing matters before the police's attention. But what is clear is that there are many calls to the premises in respect of what I'm going to call violent incidents. What is clear is that these are a set of premises where women feel unsafe, because that is a feature of at least 2 of the incidents. And there is also an intelligence report of drugs in relation to the 8th of June 2025, where a gentleman says that he saw Kurdish men selling small bags of white powder inside the premises. I stress that that is intelligence only, and you will place what weight you will on it. But in order to research the incident that occurred the day before the trigger incident, we had a look at the CCTV for that evening as well, where the fight took place on the dance floor. And what was discovered was that at 3:59, 8 people were dancing, and that there were 20 people in the premises. Now, this is 2.5 hours after the premises should have closed. This was a Sunday night going into a Monday, and the premises should have been shut at 2 a.m. The music should have stopped at 1:30. So the question that you have to decide today is, what should we do as a licensing subcommittee? We say that this is a case where you are perfectly capable of revoking the license, because if you don't revoke the license, then the license remains in the hands of a man and his staff who are capable of committing acts of violence with weapons. And furthermore, the license would remain in the hands of somebody who not only fits those criteria, but also has regard or disregard for the conditions on his license. Now, there was reference to an incident that took place on the 20th of April 2024, when I was dealing at the interim steps hearing with an alleged assault on officers of the council, and in particular Bob Deere. And it's explained in his statement at page 106. When he was called to the premises, they did not have a license, but were clearly operating as if they did have a license. And there was a difference of opinion between Mr. Ahmed and Mr. Deere. Mr. Ahmed seized his arm, and others who were behind Mr. all of this happened outside the premises, and others who were with Mr. Ahmed moved forward. Mr. Deere pushed Mr. Ahmed back. Now, at the hearing on the 19th of June, Mr. Ahmed asserted that he didn't know, first of all, of any such incident. We find that hard to believe, because he was arrested for it. I have to say he's not been charged, because Bob Deere suffered no injuries and he decided not to press charges. But it's we say unusual for Mr. Ahmed to feign no knowledge of that incident in circumstances where he was handcuffed and arrested. And then when he attempts to deal with the incident during the course of the hearing, he gave a different explanation. He said that he was seized by the throat by Mr. Deere. That is vehemently denied. So there we have it. That's my case. You've got a bad incident that took place on the 9th of June. They lay in wait and knew that the victims were arriving. They armed themselves and they assaulted the victims from almost the very moment that the victims went into the premises, and having armed themselves with one weapon, then went out and rearmed themselves with an additional weapon. Any suggestion of self-defense, quite simply, is fanciful in a case such as this. So having said all that, I'm going to ask Anu Mitu, please, to speak to Vicky Hewson's statement, and in particular, please, the CCTV timeline, which starts at page 98. Now, with all our fingers crossed,
Thank you, James. Chair, can I just make sure that has this stopped recording, because it's a live investigation, so if I play CCTV, it needs to be behind closed doors.
Mr. Al-Hani's statement. Thank you. Mr. Al-Hani, please continue.
Thank you very much. In respect of the CCTV, which I understand is being played for multiple parts, this is something that hasn't been provided to the premises license holder. It hasn't been available to him even since he provided the documentation to, or he provided that to the police. So in fact, since he was released from the police custody, he's not had sight of this or had been able to appreciate what's on it or what's not on it for the entire time. So to then play it once the agenda pack's been open for quite some time is a slight ambush. And considering the fact that the police have had it for such a long time, it could have been provided well ahead of today's hearing so that everybody else could view it as well. Not for it then to be played on Teams and for us to essentially live react to what's been put forward.
Mr. Al-Hani, have you had an opportunity to read the agenda pack in full? Because the police have provided a detailed account of what is due to be played to us, and if what is indeed played to us today is not in keeping with this statement, then you're welcome to object at that point. But I'll invite Ms. Seb to speak, as she's just put her hand up and can obviously advise better than I.
Chair, so there's a couple of things. First of all, Mr. Al-Hani will know that the licensing subcommittee hearing doesn't have any strict rules in regards to disclosure obligations in advance of, sort of as you would do in any other sort of court environment. However, Councillor Akbar, there are principles of natural justice to ensure that parties are very clear in terms of the information that's going to be presented. So irrespective of the fact that there is a clear narrative in Vicky Hewson's statement, it would be helpful to understand from Mr. Rankin, who represents the police in this matter, essentially on why that hasn't been disclosed to Mr. Ahmed and his representatives in advance of today, so that they're able to properly consider it and obviously then confirm if indeed the narrative in Vicky Hewson's statement marries up with that before it was due to be played to the committee today. And secondly, if Mr. Rankin has any observations in regards to Mr. Al-Hani and him against the playing of this footage, so that I can probably consider it and advise you further.
I'm just taking instructions. My impression was that the CCTV had been served on Mr. Ahmed. If he has not been served with it, then that is the fault of the police. Now, I'm just receiving, no, it wasn't served. It has not been served, and that is an error. And I wholly accept that Mr. Ahmed will be disadvantaged by not seeing the CCTV.
And Mr. Rankin, you will be aware that we do have to apply the principles of natural justice in these proceedings, even though there are no strict procedural rules. Do you have a suggestion on how you intend to remedy this with instructions from the Met Police so that we can proceed with the hearing today?
I'm not sure we can proceed with the hearing today unless there's a possibility of the evidence being served on Mr. Ahmed this morning, and then we resume later on in the afternoon when
sorry, I didn't want to continue. Councillor Akbar, it may be useful to understand how long this CCTV is, so what sort of timing we're looking at, so that it can a decision can be taken whether, if indeed that CCTV can be shared with Mr. Ahmed's team, so that they can consider it, and the hearing should resume, because there is a statutory time period for these matters to be dealt with, as both parties will be aware.
Yes. Anu, how long in total is the CCTV that you were going to play?
In total, it's about 12 and a half minutes.
12 and a half minutes. Good.
Okay. Councillor Nagpal, sorry.
How quickly can you serve that on Mr. Ahmed?
I could email it to him, try and email it to him like now, after if we have a break or something.
Yes.
If that's agreeable.
Councillor Nagpal, my advice to the panel would be that it would be proportionate to adjourn the matter for a short period of time, so that Mr. Alhani and Mr. Ahmed, sorry, and his representatives are able to view that footage. It appears to be a short clip, not some lengthy hours of footage, and then we can resume the hearing, perhaps if we allow for an hour. And then resume the hearing so that we can continue today. It's disappointing, Mr. Alhani, that knowing that you've had the agenda pack now for a week or thereabouts, or certainly Mr. Ahmed, that no one's made those inquiries with the Met Police in advance of today's hearing to be able to access the footage, if indeed that hasn't been done. If it has, then I take that comment back. Councillor Nagpal, a matter for you.
I'm perfectly happy with that, provided my colleagues have the time and are able to return. I'm happy for us to adjourn for an hour.
May I just say,
I also
only giving us an hour to view the footage, consult with our client, and give alternative view of what is shown on the CCT, if that's the case. Really, an hour is insufficient, and it's not a fair proportionate situation where the police have had 3 weeks to prepare their version of events, and we're going to try and do it within 1 hour. And also, we are in different sites. We're not all together at the same place, so it's going to be extremely difficult for us to view it and put the statement together for you to have Mr. Ahmed's interpretation of the video, if it is different from what is there, in 1 hour.
Mr.
I don't agree.
Sorry, yes, certainly.
May I just say that I don't agree with any of that. The point that you make is a good one. They've had the agenda papers for some time now. If there was a complaint about not being served with the CCTV and a desire to marry up the CCTV, then what they should have done and ought to have done, ask for it. They did not. So the difficulties that are assumed at this present time are the making, I would suggest, of the operator and not the police, although I accept that we didn't serve the CCTV, but we would have done if we had been asked for it. In respect of being in different locations, they can do what we're doing now, and that is have a meeting on Teams, and they can play the CCTV on Teams, and they can analyze it. You don't need to have a statement. We just need to hear what Mr. Ahmed says. Does he accept that what I'm saying is correct, or does he not accept it? So it's 12 and a half minutes, and it should easily be dealt with within an hour.
Councillor Nagpal, my advice to the committee remains the same. 12 and a half minutes is a short clip which can be viewed by the parties. I don't want to repeat what Mr. Rankin has already repeated following my representation to you. And so an hour would be more than sufficient time. Mr. Ahmed was present. That's not denied by his party. And so he'll be most familiar with what he's watching. And so it remains my advice that an hour is more than sufficient for this committee to adjourn and resume.
Thank you, Ms. Zeb. I think I agree, because the agenda pack does also articulate step by step what we're expecting to see, which the other party does have. So I'm happy to adjourn for an hour and allow you time to review the CCTV.
Chair, could I just to make things easier, if I could possibly arrange a separate Teams meeting with Mr. Ahmed and who's representing him and play it that way. It's just that the CCTV is on an Axon system and they would need an Axon account. There may be difficulty with them viewing it that way. If that's agreeable, we could do that after we leave this meeting. If that's something Mr. Ahmed would be okay to do.
I guess that's a matter for Mr. Ahmed and his representatives.
I mean, how would it be possible for the video? Would that be sent via email?
No, so what I'm suggesting is because you would need access to an Axon account, and I'm not sure if you have it. What we could do is arrange a separate Teams meeting once we leave this meeting with you, Mr. Ahmed and Mr. Noel Samaru, and then you could view it that way. I can't send essentially what I'm saying is also I can't send out links to a live criminal investigation because I don't know who's going to have sight of that or what other people will be viewing it, if that makes sense. Because I have to take that into consideration.
So you'd be sitting there listening to what we discuss as well?
No. You can watch the CCTV and then we'll end the meeting. You can go and discuss what you need to discuss and then we'll reconvene for to carry on with the hearing.
So we can only watch it like once or twice and then discuss? Or can we carry on watching it?
That's how it would have been done had you been privy to the CCTV before. Because it's a live criminal investigation, we can't just send out links to CCTV for anyone to have a look at and view and record. Does that make sense?
I just want to just clarify one thing then, that the comment was made that we should have asked for this before. So it appears that even if we had have asked for it before, we wouldn't have been able to have it sent to us to view it.
No, you would have viewed it this way that I'm suggesting. We would have had a Teams meeting, it would have been played for you and your client, and then that would have been it.
So shouldn't we wait for the live criminal investigation to conclude so we can all freely watch the CCTV and concentrate on this matter from this respect then?
Chair, if I may just...
That also might have bearing on how the committee comes to its conclusion as well then, because
Mr. Ahmed, the issue here is that this hearing is not a criminal hearing. It's essentially about licensing. So I think Ms. Zeb wanted to come in. Please, Ms. Zeb, if you have something to add, please.
Yeah, Chair, just hearing from the parties, I appreciate the difficulty that the Met have in disclosing that CCTV footage if it's in the course of an investigation, and Mr. Alhani will no doubt be aware of the criminal procedures and he will I expect accept that if they are able to arrange a Teams meeting and share that footage and not be privy to any confidentiality or any conversation that's happening, if there's a way of achieving that, then I can't see why Mr. Alhani, you or your clients will have an issue with the footage being shared that way. It's a short clip of 12.5 minutes.
I mean, a short clip and 12.5 minutes, I don't think goes in the same sentence. View it once, view it twice, view it 3 times, 36 minutes have gone.
Mr. Alhani, with respect, you have a detailed narrative in the officer's statement, and save us going round in circles. I suppose the question is, do you have any issue with the Met sharing this footage via a Teams meeting and not being privy to your conversations or your, because obviously your conversations with your clients are legally privileged in whatever context as a solicitor? Are you happy for that to happen?
If I could just
Mr. Samaru, with respect, the question is to Mr. Alhani on behalf of the committee. He's a solicitor, so he will be more familiar with respect to the procedural rules that apply in investigations and indeed in this committee's context. Mr. Alhani, could you let the committee know what your position is on that?
I'm grateful. As counsel, considering the fact that I've been privy to the information that CCTV footage will be played right now it's difficult for me to understand what the position is of the client that I'm taking instructions from. So while I understand that there is a need, or there is a want, or there's a desire for the committee to progress and to proceed with it, I think and I understand that you are aware of the fact that I also know how these procedures work. You can no doubt understand that there is some difficulties as to the practical nature of us all being in separate locations. If, for example, we could have the direct contact details of Ms. Mitu, so that when we need the video to be replayed, or we ask for the video to be replayed, we are able to do so, I would really appreciate that, because then it allows the DPS whose premises is being affected at the end of the day, and then the police whose application it is, to both have had sufficient sight of the video. It's no doubt, I think, also not it's not being put forward that even the account of the licensing officer from Met Police gives a second-hand account as to what's happened, albeit it's detailed, but it's still from the applicant's perspective and not from the premises license holder. At the end of the day, the premises license holder has given us instructions, has given Mr. Samaru's instruction, who was there on the previous occasion in the interim steps. I've come in at the final hearing with the agenda pack, of course. No doubt the CCTV footage may be helpful to some extent. It still requires me to take some detailed instruction considering the magnitude of the consequences of this application. So if I could, for example, have the CCTV footage played in the Teams meeting, there may be a need for us to play the video again. And I don't think it is something that's not fair, considering the police have had the footage, whereas Mr. Ahmed hasn't, to then ask, for example, okay, well, what happened at minute 8, for example, and then for minute 8 to not be able to be played again. And I understand, of course, there's a need to push forward. However, I do have to agree with my learner friend, Mr. Rankin, to some extent. It's difficult to see the effectiveness of today's hearing, considering that this is a central part of the evidence. And I mean it with the greatest of respect.
Can I have like 1 minute just to speak to my team for like 1 minute, please, if that's okay? I'll just quick phone call.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed. Councillor Nagpal, my advice remains the same. I think that Mr. Ahmed and his team can view the footage via Teams meeting with the police. They can come off that call and have a conversation if they need to, and if they need to come back and view the footage a second time, I'm sure that the officer, is it Metu, will be able to provide them with a further Teams meeting access to the footage to be able to review it. My advice to the panel is not to adjourn this matter. There is a statutory time limit within which these matters are heard. All parties are present today. Trying to convene a meeting on another day could further delay this matter, and there is sufficient time today for the parties to view it and indeed take instructions. That remains my advice.
Chair, may I say that I've heard what
Sorry,
said.
Mr. Samaru. Mr.
Samaru,
Samaru, I am chairing this meeting. If you could please only speak when invited to.
I did ask to speak to you, and I would like to make a point.
Okay, Mr. Samaru, if I invite you to speak, then you should speak, please. I'm just on the back of Ms. Zeb's instruction. I think our position is clear that we would like to continue today. Mr. Ahmed, you asked for a private conversation with the two gentlemen here representing you today. If you'd like to put yourself on mute for a few minutes and initiate a conversation with them, I'm happy for you to do that, and we will pause for a few minutes. I'm hoping that we can find a solution to this stalemate following that call. So we'll pause for a few minutes while you have that chat with them.
Thank you.
Hi, yes, Madam Chair. Sorry, if we could then proceed.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad we've reached that conclusion. Okay, so we'll adjourn the meeting for an hour. It is 11:31, so we'll return at 12:31, and hopefully we can continue the meeting.
Sorry, just how do we contact or arrange the Teams meeting with Miss Anu?
Mr. Ahmed, I think I've got your email, which should be on the system, so I'll email you a link, and then you can forward that to your solicitor and your agent, and then we take it from there. Is that all right?
Thank you.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what time are we back, Chair? Just so we don't miss it.
So I'd like I mean, it's 11:31, so I'm allowing the full hour, so we'll come back at 12:32.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will come out of this and return if that's okay. But I will return
Absolutely.
at 12:32 on a new system, so I'm more stable.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Glunt.
Thanks.